Thank you for your interest in the dRural digital platform. I am Tina, and together with my colleague Davide,
Hello, nice to meet you.
we will here give you a short introduction and some guidelines to use when starting your journey towards an implementation of a dRural digital platform solution. These guidelines are a summary of learnings from the dRural EU Horizon project over the years 2021 to 2024. During this period, the concept was developed and aimed to be implemented in 11 regions all over Europe, with the basic idea to create digital support functions for services in rural areas. In this introduction, we will give you initial guidelines covering 4 main topics: mission and governance, organization and skills, business development, and technology. A digital platform relies heavily on technology, and this topic is, of course, of high importance. But without also targeting the other topics with great effort and work, you will not reach a successful solution that creates good value for its target groups and can be sustainable over time. Let's set off with mission and governance. The mission for why you seek to implement a digital platform for developing and supporting your area is of high importance. The mission and governance is something that you need to hold on to, although open to changes on the way, and important to be clear and communicative about. Make sure that all parties involved have equal understanding of the overall mission, vision, and objectives to why you are to create this platform. The allocation of time for these discussions within the partnership are highly recommended, especially in the beginning of your journey, but also along the way to keep adaptive to changes. Try to set goals for your work that are SMART, meaning specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Make an inventory of your consortium's previous experiences and how these can be leveraged. Also, try and find and use tools that can support your open communication and transparency amongst the partnership. Set a basic agreement within the partnership on ownership and the responsibilities and roles that comes with that. Rely on these agreements, but be also flexible to changes, temporarily as well as more definitive. The process of creating a platform is a very agile and creative one that demands a fair amount of adaptability. The participation and trust in your partnership comes from open communication and inclusion. Make the governance trustworthy and transparent.
As for setting the scene for mission and governance, the setting of the operational work and development is equally important. The creation of a digital platform, of course, has many technical elements to it. Therefore, a coordinating technical engineer is a highly prioritized role to have on board in your organization. There will be a lot of technical aspects and sub-projects to manage along the journey. Most likely, such a role also needs to engage a network of different specialists from time to time. For example, the need for data security is something that has to be taken very seriously. The overall operational manager for coordinating activities, monitoring mission and goals, secure financial and strategic aspects is yet another role of high importance and value and should be selected carefully. This role needs to be experienced within project management. Then we have the role of a business developer with knowledge of business modeling and adaptation and willingness to learn on the specific topic of digital platforms. Driving business on a digital platform has its differences to traditional business. The understanding of that and a willingness to learn is important for this role. A platform can be highly functional, valuable, and usable in a technical way, but without a community on it of consumers and service providers, there will be no sustainable business. Strive for all your managing roles to also carry soft skills for good communication and leadership, as this process demands a lot of interaction between different competencies. These core roles, together with the partnership, then need to be able to establish a network of operational capacity and competence to collaboratively get the work done. To reach an effective operational work, schedule regular meetings. Have these meetings driving progress and establish engagement from your partners. Make sure to have subgroups handling various tasks along the timeline of your development. Developing a platform contains much of a double diamond approach, meaning that there is a constant diving into details and then back to the bigger picture and see how these fit. Then back into details again, back and forth. This demands a collaborative culture and a need for ideas and information to flow in a focused communication. With this also comes a need for high flexibility and adaptability in the operational work itself. Set direction can change from one week to another due to new findings. The openness and willingness to learn from this is a key factor. To monitor progress of the operational work, there are of course working hours and cost spends to keep a constant eye on. But try also to establish some higher level key performance indicators, or KPIs, that monitor your team's progress towards your ultimate goals and mission. So we have now talked about the internal organization and key roles and elements in that. Yet another important asset is the stakeholders and other external connections and collaborations that your platform development can benefit from. Stakeholders can come in many shapes and forms. They can be related to technical knowledge, financial interests in relation to regional business development, policymakers, industry organizations, politicians, pilot users, important promoters, or ambassadors. Try early to pinpoint potential stakeholders that are important for your platform, people or organizations with interests and relations to what you try to achieve. Inform them early in the process of what you are doing and ask for their feedback and further engagement. Continuously keep this group informed and ask for their honest feedback and then reflect upon that. Okay, Tina, so far so good. Could you now tell us about business development?
For sure, Davide. Let's move on. Without business development, there will be no transactions and no activity on your otherwise well-developed and well-built digital platform. As part of identifying stakeholders that was just mentioned by Davide, there is also need for identifying larger ecosystems around the platform. A knowledge and mapping of the ecosystem is actually a good way of starting your business development. This mapping will bring valuable insights on potential functions, services, and users to onboard the platform and ways to target them during different stages of the launch. When doing this, try to spot important actors. Research the solutions that they use today and ask them for pros and cons with those solutions. Do not discard manual solutions, as they are there for a reason. The key opportunities often lay within the combination of simplicity, closing gaps, and solving fragmentation issues. As with establishing good connections with stakeholders, also do the same for a closer connection to networks. This can be already existing ones or by you taking the initiative in creating new ones. Networks can bring more broader perspectives to your ideas and maybe even help you validate them. As we have mentioned previously, business modeling for a digital platform comes with quite some differences in comparison with more traditional business development. On the road towards defining and summarizing the actual business model, there is a great need for understanding of platform thinking and platform strategy. This is an area where your whole team need to have an understanding on at least a basic level. Deeper understanding and knowledge of platform strategy is then demanded for your team working on business modeling. A pro tip here is to check out the Platform Design Toolkit. When working on this matter, many questions arise that needs to be addressed. What will drive and encourage users and providers to onboard your platform? What is the hen and egg in this? Is there actually good business to have some services for free, as you can benefit more on others? Who is your customer? In many cases, it is not the consumer. When and how do we plan for scaling our infrastructure as the users and transactions grow? Have we made sure that the infrastructure is scalable without major interruptions? Good definitions of the value propositions are the heart and lungs of business modeling. Your value propositions should be iterated and refined many times. There is also of high importance to validate them. However good intentions and great beliefs you yourself might have in what you intend to offer, those intentions are not enough. And just asking your mum or close friends is unfortunately not enough either. To create a sustainable business, you need to validate your assumptions in a much broader way. Another important thing to consider is how you keep the transactions to happen on your platform. Not having consumers and providers doing the actual business off-platform and only using your platform to meet each other. In other words, you need to create solutions that are experienced to be at least as easy to use on-platform as off-platform, or that they bring additional value propositions. Already from the beginning, you should consider what data and information that you can collect and how this can be of additional use for someone. As the platforms scale and grow, the data will do the same and become more valuable. Is there additional business for you coming from that? When doing your business modeling, we recommend that you use a canvas aimed for double or multi-sided platforms, for example, the platform canvas. A canvas is a good landing place for collected information and a very good playground for your work. Encourage scenarios with innovative thinking, at the same time as being down to earth with the user's initial needs. And again, spend time on the value propositions, spend much time on the value propositions. Make them distinct for the targeted group. Consider several times who the paying customer are for the services that the platform carries. Also to consider is when certain parties are to become paying customers. As always with business modeling, make a realistic but challenging plan for establishing your revenue stream and how your costs will impact. From that, further plan when you will reach profit and positive cash flow, and what additional funding you might need to overcome gaps in this planning. From all this work, it is then time to condense it all into an interesting pitch to be used when explaining and selling your platform to the world.
And finally, we move into technology. When thinking of using the dRural setup as a base for your platform, start off with taking your time to really understand the components that comes with dRural. The toolkit, the marketplace, and the core meta platform. To add value and separate your platform from others, think about what kind of complex services that can bring your platform to a higher level of functions and solutions. With complex services, we here mean offerings that combines one or more functions or use data as a tool for higher levels of value to the platform users. Within the dRural concept, it is here that the core meta platform really can bring added value to your development. Technology, however, comes with a cost. Really take care in planning how and when to take on costs in relation to establishing revenue streams. This can help you create a technical release plan to which you schedule your work and releases. Your local installation will most likely need to carry several different integrations with other functions, be that, for example, other systems, IoT services, payment functions, external booking systems, language models, or other forms of AI. The planning of your setup needs to have these in mind and well thought through with documentation and instructions over such integrations. Many times, there is further development needed for this that can easily be cost and time consuming. On the other hand, such functions might be well worth investing in, as they bring high value to users if integrated and thereby reduce fragmentation. When developing technology, it is quite easy to be carried away with cool functions. Early adopters are necessary to test functions on, but always remember that they most likely do not represent the volume of your average user. User-centered and easy-to-use functions will most always win over complicated ones. Make sure to use and listen to focus groups, do your monitoring, and borrow solutions from already well-known and successful user interfaces. Make sure that your technical development also includes training. Provide training, for example, via instructive films, guidelines, etc. for onboarding service providers, technical providers, and users. When then starting to implement the solution, a plan for system configuration and having the right roles in the right places is key. This is, of course, based on provided documentation of the dRural setup, but also the local situation and need that your installation aim for. When the solution has been implemented, there is time for extensive testing of functions and further training. As this is then getting more and more worked through, it is time to open up your platform and engage and onboard consumers and service providers. So Tina, is it now time to wrap this up?
Yes, Davide. Thank you for your interest, and we hope that this has brought some more insights to what to consider and think through when beginning your journey towards a digital platform. Please check out dRural.eu for more information. There you will also find a guidelines document with more extensive information in addition to this. From me, Tina.
And me, Davide. We wish you very good luck with your work.